One of the things we often talk about when releasing content is how the lack of transparency can hurt drivers, hurt our pay, hurt our earnings. Today, we're going to talk about it from a standpoint that makes it clear from a number of angles. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. First question to ask for all of my drivers out there, particularly my veteran drivers that actually pay attention to what the hell is going on and what passengers often gripe about. Number one question: is there a significant difference in the fare being charged between Uber and Lyft in your particular market? I'm asking this question because this does come from an article where they are suggesting that in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, an average trip can cost substantially more by simply taking Lyft. Now, in the article, it states a 6-mile Uber in the city costs $29.18 on average, while a Lyft trip of the same distance costs $35.82. That comes out to $6.62 more. This is according to cashnet.usa or something like that. So there is a site that took this information, did the equations, and they didn't just stop in Philadelphia, which is why I'm asking, in your market, have you had passengers tell you there is a significant difference between getting a ride with Uber versus getting a ride with Lyft? Now, us drivers, we obviously know there is often a big difference in how much you earn driving for Uber or driving for Lyft. In my market, Lyft tends to offer a hell of a lot better incentives. We get better earnings guarantees and things like that. But in your market, maybe the streaks with Uber and things like that are better for you. Well, this clearly translates to the passengers in regards to what they're paying. But there is a big issue that this article lets on. The minute I told you how much drivers or riders have to pay in terms of differences, that should have opened your eyes, gave you a huge damn, I cannot believe that. Now listen to what was stated. In Philadelphia, for a 6-mile trip, the Uber passengers, while paying substantially less than Lyft, the Uber passengers on average for 6 miles, they're paying $29.18 is what I stated. While Lyft, on average, same 6 miles, $35.82. You know what's really jacked up about that? How much do you earn on average for a damn 6-mile trip? In my market, 72 cents per mile is what the drivers get. So if there's no surge, no earnings guarantee, no streak bonuses, we're getting 72 cents per mile. What the hell is 72 cents per mile times 6? Doesn't come anywhere freaking near $29.18. So this article is a good reference point to just how much the drivers are being ripped off by these companies. Even Uber charging a lower amount, $29.18. No driver makes $29.18 for 6 miles. Not even close. $29 divided by 6, that's damn near $5 per mile. Most drivers make less than $1. Even the very fortunate drivers out in states like Washington, Seattle, Washington, they're making about $1.50. So that just goes to show you how much they're ripping us off. $29.18 for 6 fucking miles. Most drivers, like I said, 72 cents times 6. That's not even $5. That's not even $5 for that same distance. And they're charging the passenger $29. Now, maybe in some markets you might get $7 or $8 or something like that, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's any market in the United States that pays anywhere remotely close to $29.18 to the driver for doing 6 miles. Not even half of that. Not even half of that. And then, of course, Lyft is charging even more, $35.82. So that is the first thing that stood out to yours truly when reading this article. But we do want to talk about the substantial difference in markets for passengers riding Uber versus Lyft. Now, some of this is on demand. If there are a hell of a lot of passengers trying to catch Uber rides, and not a lot of folks know about Lyft in that town, then Uber may be in surge pricing and Lyft may be at normal rates. So clearly Uber is going to charge a hell of a lot to the passenger because they're in surge. But also they should be paying the driver a hell of a lot more because they're charging surge. Now, we've done transparency videos numerous times. Everything from Uber stealing tips to not even telling you how much you're making on some of these damn trips. So understand, for my newer drivers out there, just because Uber is charging the passengers surge pricing does not mean you're going to get it as a driver. Does not mean they're even going to be honest and tell you they're doing this shit at all. A passenger may get in your vehicle and tell you they had to pay 3 times surge, and you may look at the app and not see a surge at all. That's what happens when these companies have the ability to completely avoid and eradicate transparency. We don't know what the hell is going on. As I said in my other video, you don't know shit when it comes to the formulas they are figuring out to determine your pay. None of us do. None of us do. And because we don't know how much the passenger is paying, unless you open up your damn mouth and ask, you just simply do not know if they're paying something that should equate to more money for you or not. Most cases, we take a passenger from point A to point B and we don't ask them anything about the fares. I'm here to tell you, as a veteran driver, been driving off and on since 2014, you should talk about the fare as often as you possibly can with passengers. Not only to keep you more in the loop as to what the hell is going on, but it also benefits you if the passengers know what the hell is going on, because most passengers would have no clue that when they pay $29.18 for a trip, the driver is receiving well under $10 of that. Most passengers don't know that. So it could help you in terms of receiving tips, receiving side deals where the passenger gets in your vehicle and tells you. And I've had it happen, and I'm sure a lot of my veteran drivers, if you have, feel free to state it in the comments. Have you ever had a passenger get in your vehicle that was aware of the ripoff going on from Uber and Lyft and told you, I don't want to give all this damn money to the customer or to the company. I would rather pay you in cash. Can we make a deal? Have you ever had a passenger attempt to make a side deal with you and stated flat out, I want to make sure more of my fare goes to you as a driver as opposed to these damn companies ripping you off? Have you ever had that happen? Personally, I've had it happen several times. And also with tips. I've had passengers flat out ask me, do you actually get the tips we give you? I'd rather give it to you in cash. And I'll tell you from a total point of honesty, yours truly as a passenger, anytime I'm traveling and I need to get in an Uber or Lyft, I always tip the driver and I always do it in cash. I'll make an extra effort to go find some cash if I don't have any on me and I only have plastic or something to make sure that driver can receive cash from me, because I'm obviously victimized by the same shit he may get victimized by. So I'm going to make sure all of my drivers, if I ever, the few times I catch Ubers when I'm on the road, I always make sure to tip them in cash. And I let them know I drive and this is why I'm tipping you in cash. Not to mention it helps them out with Uncle Sam a little bit too. Before we go, they gave a few other cities. In New Orleans, get this, in New Orleans, Uber on average is $12 cheaper than Lyft. That's significant. The only way I can see that happening is Uber is either stiffing the hell out of its drivers in terms of pay, and I can't see how they would even have room to stiff them that damn much. Most likely in New Orleans, if they can give Uber rides for $12 cheaper, it has to be because nobody knows about Lyft, or very few people are using Lyft in New Orleans. That's too big of a gap to not have some decent explanation for. A $12 difference in New Orleans between Uber and Lyft, with Uber being that much cheaper. Now, here is the closer that once again just really pissed me off to even read this in this damn article. In New York, well, they say in New York, Lyft is $9 cheaper or something like that, $4 or $9 cheaper than Uber. So catching a Lyft ride in New York is somewhat cheaper than Uber, but that's not the issue. In the same article, they state that on average, a 6-mile trip in New York costs $50 to the passenger. Now both Uber and Lyft, I believe their base fare is higher in New York City. For you folks that are in that region, feel free to state in the comments, what the hell do they pay base fare in New York? Because this article is stating that on average, a 6-mile trip in New York costs 50 fucking bucks. Now, obviously, with the amount of traffic in New York, I assume it takes a little bit longer to do 6 miles. But 50 bucks? 50 freaking bucks? That's like $8. That's more. That's actually more than $8 per mile to charge a passenger 50 bucks. That is more than $8 per mile. Obviously, the drivers in the New York City area are not even making a fourth of that. And I'm going to say that without even doing homework, without even knowing what the base fare is. I don't believe the base fare in New York is $2 per mile. If it's $2 per mile, that would be the driver receiving 25% of that $50 for a 6. That's only 25%. And that's if it's $2 per mile, which I'm fairly certain Uber and Lyft drivers are not making $2 per mile in New York. Is this article just really jacked up? Let me know for you folks in the comments that might be aware. Are passengers in New York really paying 50 damn bucks for a 6-mile trip? Is it really that expensive? Because at that rate, shit, what is the percentage of that fare that Uber is keeping, Uber and Lyft is keeping? It's got to be 80, 90% at that point. That's insane. Let your boy know in the comments, because I'm thinking, like, can this article be really, is it really that fucked up out there? I drive, and even to me, yours truly, these numbers are astonishing. But let me know what you folks think. In your market, is there a significant difference between Uber and Lyft? And when you see rates like this, 29 bucks for a 6-mile trip, and you figure out what you're earning in that market for a 6-mile trip, can this shit be true? It's your boy Tim. Subscribe to the damn channel. Click the like button. See you in the next video.